blood, no foul.
It's no blood, no foul.
It's no blood, no foul. Emotions spill on the court when you proud to rep your city. New York's the hometown.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of the No Blood, No Foul podcast presented by Real GM. I'm your host, Slice, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, as always, Coke, Jim, and Kyle. And also joining us again tonight is our executive producer, Moon. Hey, the Knicks won their fifth straight game for the first time since 2014 as they showed up big tonight down in Dallas and beat the Mavs 117-109 to improve to 30-27 for the season. You know, the game was tied halfway through the first quarter before the Knicks started to pull away, with IQ hitting a three to end the quarter to have the Knicks go up 34-25. The Knicks got their lead in the second to as much as 12 before the Mavs were able to come back and tie it a couple of times, but an RJ three to end the quarter this time in the second put the Knicks up for 56-52 to head into the break. Julius Randle had a strong first half with 25 points to pace the Knicks, while KP led the Mavs with 10. You know, the Mavs took a quick lead then in the third quarter, but then it traded back and forth with the Knicks in the last couple of minutes. Before this time, it was Julius Randle, so three straight quarters where the Knicks hit a three to end it and had the Knicks go up again 4 points in the fourth quarter, 83-79. You know, with the usual fourth quarter hero, Alec Burks out, RJ Barrett needed to step up and did so, dropping 13 points in the final quarter as the Knicks never let the Mavs cut it closer to 6 to close out that rare fifth straight win, you know, the Knicks haven't seen in a long time. Julius Randle decided 2 straight 30-point games wasn't enough as he dropped 44 tonight, and RJ Barrett, as I mentioned, 24 points coming alive in the second half. Fellas, I was the only one last podcast with enough faith in our team to pull out the win tonight, and it made it all that much better to see my boy Frank Ntilikina come in and even drop a 3 since we had to talk some smack about him lately. I'm just going to leave it at that. Coke, I'll kick it to you for your thoughts.
You get to gloat tonight, man. Tonight's your night. You made the call. But, yo, man, you know, all Knicks fans get to gloat, matter of fact, because, you know, this is the type of game that you want to see the Knicks win. Big contribution from Randolph, 44 points. Big contribution from RJ Barrett, 24 points. And role players played their role. And we beat the Mavericks. And, you know, we increased the chance of, you know, getting a better pick. Any loss that they take is a better win for us. So a good night all around. You know, I want to talk about the Knicks mentality. You know, this is a team where, you know, every time they get into a little bad stretch and I start talking about, you know, playing tournaments or maybe dropping out altogether and talking about picks, you know, they immediately respond and run off some wins. And, you know, once again, we're seeing it 5 in a row. This might be our, you know, our biggest stretch of the year. We're looking like we're playing our best basketball. Randle's on a hell of a tear. And it just speaks on the resiliency of the team and, you know, the bounce back factor. And, you know, you should never sell this team short. I'm learning my lesson, man. No more draft talk from me until we kick off our draft. Until we kick off our draft show. So, hey Jim, give me your thoughts, man.
I really love Tibbs' game plan tonight because it definitely seemed like throw as many bodies at Doncic as you possibly can and make sure that he passes to somebody else to hit shots. And you know what? The rest of the team is just not as good as Doncic is. Like Luka, like I know Luka had a ton of assists and 22 points, but you know he only shot 43% from the field. I think that's a credit to Tibbs right then and there. And Randle was hitting just like I don't even know. I wish I counted how many step backs Randle hit tonight because it felt like 10 different step backs that he just was like. I was just like no, yes, every single time that he was taking shots. And there was a couple big moments. I felt like in the second quarter and maybe even the third quarter where it was just I wanted him to pass more, but he was just on fire. But and like all those like thoughts just kind of like melted away because he just kept hitting shots. And probably my favorite thing that I saw is that when Randle sat in I believe the beginning of the fourth quarter that RJ like was able to take over and expand the lead from there. That was huge. And it's like, it's awesome seeing that our 20-year-old can like actually start filling in for Randle and actually start creating shots and baskets. Because it's like, a lot of the times it only really feels like Randle has that opportunity to create like that. And hell yeah, for our 20-year-old throwing the game on his shoulders and expanding the lead while he was out there. Moo, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, you know what? I think it might be uniforms. I don't know if you guys remember. Kyle doesn't, but this was back during the Knicks 90s days. Kyle, you probably remember. There was a stretch where Remember Allen Houston shaved his head, and he was like bald. And for some reason, the way he looked, he wore no socks. He was just faster. So I can't explain it. The game started, and they did something that they've not done all season, which is go on the attack. Right to start the game, they were playing so well, so quickly. Usually, start the game slow, and their ball movement is really stagnant. But I was surprised how well they started the game, and that momentum kind of carried through most of the game. So definitely very impressed. Even Frank, honestly, when he came out, I was like, "Is that really Frank?" Right? It was hard to believe. I was hoping he'd stay in or they bring him back. He looked really good. This game just clicked really, really well all the way around.
All right, so Moo, before we head on to me, we got Rob in the chat. He wants to know if you're ready to put some respect on Nerlens' name yet.
No.
All right, we'll leave it at that.
Let me. You want me to explain? I'll explain. All right. I acknowledge Nerlens Noel is an excellent defender. Okay, I don't think I've ever disputed that. My concern has always been two things, right? The hands, the size, and the fit. Well, that's three things, right? So three
Moo,
things.
I was about to be like, hold on, that's three.
1, 2, 3. That's three things. On this team, yes, he fits well in the sense that he defends well. His team defense is excellent. He blocks shots, but he doesn't really fit because of the offense, the hands, and what they need, right? So I always go back to what does a team need? This team is, again, a slow, methodical, limited offensive team. When you have that, you need to have all of your players able to do something on the offensive end. I think, I talked about why Frank doesn't play. I think a big part of it is because Frank doesn't really offer, other than tonight, he doesn't normally offer much of anything on offense, right? Noel is playing, and I give him absolute credit. He played great tonight, and he's playing great. But would I want him back next year? I don't know. Would I want him to be the starting center? Absolutely not. Right? Not for this team. If the Knicks go out and get a premier point guard and they realize, what, we don't have any other options, Mitch, whatever, something happens to Mitch or they trade Mitch, then would Nerlens Noel be more likely to be a center in my eyes? Yeah. Starting center, sure. But not for this team. It just still doesn't fit. And that's my take on it. But thanks for the question.
So, Moo, you said that Frank doesn't provide much on offense. Statistically speaking, he's our best spot-up shooter. And it's not particularly close. Yeah, I mean, like, I'll fully admit, it's not a big sample size.
I'm sure on one attempt that we are our best outside shooter.
Yeah. So he's in the top 10% of the league. I don't know if this hasn't adjusted for tonight yet because he hit 1 of 1. But before tonight, he was in the 90th percentile in terms of scoring from spot ups. So I said, that's not a big sample size. Bullock's our next best. He's in the 80th percentile, which is still really good. And he takes way more than Frank does. And then Kevin Knox is up there too. Julius Randle is pretty good. Other than that, Alec Burks is our only other above average player. Yeah. But so I mean that's the thing, right?
If Frank could do what he did tonight in the few minutes he had, he'd be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Quality over quantity, baby. Quality over quantity.
Yeah. Yep.
Hit the one shot you take, draw a foul. Yeah,
he looked wonderful. I mean, I was impressed.
We're talking about Frank. We summoned MP Harris. That's you say Frank 3 times into a mirror, MP Harris appears behind you to say advanced stats. So the only other thing I'm gonna say about Frank is the stat is still great. 15-7 in games he plays. Is it a coincidence? Absolutely not. Moving on. Julius Randle is a beast. We all knew that. RJ Barrett had a great game. He really stepped up into, like I think Coke said, the role of Burks of that second half closer, and that's a really nice step for him to take. And I'm glad that I was thinking in the first half, I was thinking about how RJ has kind of had his role changed a bit in the past few games. In the past 7 games, he's taken 3 or 4 less shots per game than he used to for the rest of the year, but he was still averaging about the same points. So I was just thinking about how, that's like a really good example of how you take less shots, typically you're more efficient. But then tonight he goes off and just scores a bunch of points on a bunch of shots. So, what do I know, I guess. But,
well,
really...
I agree with you because it definitely feels like, especially if you like paid real close attention to the first half, that he was like kind of like an off ball, like catch and shoot role. And I feel like that has probably been how he's been for a bunch of games now. And then Tibbs really gave him an opportunity to create in the fourth, which is something that I've been begging for, basically. But yeah, like I definitely noticed that too about him kind of like having that different role.
Well, I think the thing is that like he's kind of because he's only a sophomore, he's kind of lower on the pecking order, and on most nights you will be closing it out with Randle, who's clearly the number one. Then guys like Burks, a lot of times Derrick Rose. Those guys also are guys with the ball in their hands, creating their own shots. And then RJ's out there. And I think if you look at all of them, even though, I'd rather have RJ on the ball just because, I think it's good for his development. He probably is the best off-ball player of that group, besides maybe Julius Randle, but you're not taking the ball out of Randle's hands. So,
right.
Yeah, so I kind of get it. So it was nice to see that he could come in tonight, create for himself, carry us through the stretch where Randle wasn't playing because, it was also nice to see Obi get some extended run, even though he didn't do much with it in the fourth there, just because it's really good for us to have Julius be able to rest for 5 or 6 minutes. So all in all, this is a pretty solid game from everyone. I thought we did a great job as a team, especially on defense against Luka. I know he had a crazy amount of assists, but that just goes to show I think we planned to do that. Is make Luka make plays for other guys and let them be the ones to try and beat us. And tonight they just couldn't.
Yeah,
I don't know if the ball. Go Slice.
No, I was just gonna say Luka. 22 points, 19 assists tonight. Any other game, Luka drops those stats, you almost think the Mavericks are going to win. But the Knicks, really, like you said, they just came out. That was part of their game plan, and nobody else. You had a couple other people. Tim Hardaway, I think he had 15 plus. KP 15. Richardson had a few points, but the plan was not to let Luka beat you. And the Knicks came out and beat the Mavs themselves. And my slice out the box usually is a team stat lately, but tonight I think, and we haven't talked about him enough because we go into these tangents about Frank Knox and all this stuff. Julius Randle needs to be the focus of tonight. 44, 10, and 7 after dropping 2 30-point games, 16 to 29 from the field, 6-11 from 3. He's the first 40, 10, and 5 game by a Knick since before even I was born. So this doesn't even got to make you feel old, young Kyle. Before I was born, Bernard King in 1985. That's just crazy. So, a lot of talk about Julius Randle.
Why would that make me feel old? That was like a decade before I was born.
Exactly. No, make you feel young. I said make you feel young.
No, you said old.
Make you feel young. Well, because you got no hair, so sometimes you look old.
All right, hold on now. Hold on. That's out of line. You're right, but you're out of line.
But I also do want to bring up a question to you guys, right? So Julius Randle has been in conversation for most improved player. Do you think he's an honest, legit candidate now for, a third or second all NBA team?
Yes, absolutely.
Just for
the simple fact of if you remove him from the team, we're toiling in the basement. We're looking like one of those top 3 losing teams in the running for the lottery, top pick. So, I think it's no question at this point. I would love to see him get the nod for both, MIP and one of the all-league teams. That would be great. And maybe even garner a couple of MVP votes, just a couple, just to show that, he's here. He's a viable NBA player that's a major, number one guy and a person that's capable of leading a team and changing a franchise, because that's what he's doing. It's partly him and it's also Tibbs.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he definitely deserves at least third team, but like since he's not like a name, like I feel like those slots go to like already established names, and it's like very rare that like some new up and comer kind of gets that role. I think he definitely deserves it, but I think what I would like to see the most is what Coke kind of mentioned, is I would like to see him get like 1 or 2 MVP votes. Because like what Coke said is that without him we'd be an absolute disaster. Like we're not in the playoffs, not even close. We're probably fighting with like the Bulls and whoever else, the Wolves, at the bottom of the conference.
The
Yeah, and the
Bulls.
Pistons. Well, yeah, I saw that the Bulls have like a nice shot at a top 4 pick now, but I don't want to go too topic. But yeah, like without him, without a doubt, we would be like, I think he deserves like 1 or 2 MVP votes because of that.
So I'm just looking over the guys in the league right now. So you talk about Randle being on an All NBA team as a forward. I think part of it depends on where you put a guy like Luka. You put him in. Is he going to be in as a guard? Is he going to be in as like a forward? That kind of depends on it. So you got Giannis, Zion's probably going to make it over him. Kawhi, Jason Tatum, LeBron. I think if you look at the rest of the guys that on there, guys like Brandon Ingram, Paul George, I think he should be in over them if we're talking about like his impact on the team is definitely better. So he should have at least a shot at being on the third team. I don't know about definitely not first team. Probably not second team, but I wouldn't be surprised either way if he gets on it or if he's off third team. But he definitely deserves to be in the conversation for that.
Yeah, I agree. I think ultimately it'll depend on what their record is at the end of the season, right? So if they keep going at this pace, and they pull in at 5 above, yeah, I think definitely third team. Like you said, first team, that's reserved, right? That's for the big name guys that always get on it. Second team again really close. First year in, I don't think so. Third team, yeah, it could be. It'll depend, but a lot has to do with the record.
How about MIP though? I don't think he's gonna get most improved player though, just because that's like a entirely statistical. Like it's basically who jumps the most points in a season.
Right, and his stats aren't that much different from last year, right?
Yes. The only
they're all career highs. They're all career highs though.
They are, but if you don't really watch the team, you didn't watch us last year. You'd look at that and think, he's a bit better, but not that much. Whereas, if you watch, like, it's night and day. And, that's why we're giving him so much praise this year is because, he has taken that next step this year. He is legitimately putting up good numbers to help the team win instead of last year where he was kind of like just one of those big stats on a bad team guy. So he's not going to get MIP, even though if you had a way to quantify, like, total, like, skill jump in a way that isn't just points per game, he would definitely be up there, but that's going to go to someone else. That is just taking.
I wonder who's going to be the person that gets that award, because like I feel like Randall's as deserving as anyone, but like also at the same time, like I don't watch anyone else as much as the Knicks, so I can't think of like who else has made a big statistical jump like Randall has.
Jeremy Grant.
I guess. Yeah.
You go from 12 game to 23 game. That's going to
get. But they're trash.
He's gonna be punished because the team is so bad, though. That kind of
right
for MIP though. Merit. I don't think most improved player votes count like that. I think most improved is always one of the more box score heavy awards.
I don't know. I could see a scenario where if he's left off the All NBA team, they might set him up with that because he's going to have some recognition, in some way, shape, or form for, this big turnaround with the Knicks. We can talk about Tibbs all day in the front office, but the guys on the court, they got to go out there and carry it through. And he's done that. That has to be rewarded in some way.
So I got some of the guys. I got some of the guys that have won the awards in the past year. A couple years. Brandon Ingram was last year. Pascal Siakam was the year before. Victor Oladipo was the year before that. Giannis was the year before that. CJ McCullough was the year before that, which is 2015, 2016. 2014, 2015 was Jimmy Butler. So
with those guys, was it this big statistical jump?
Ingram only jumped 5 points. Julius Randle's up 4 points from his last season's average, plus he's doubling assists. I don't think it's too much to say or too much out of the realm to say Julius Randle, even looking at the box score, is a much more efficient player this year and a much better player statistically, considering he's shooting 40% from three. You got to put into other factors. You know what I mean?
I mean,
and
it might be me a homer.
It might be me just threes. The 3-point jump is crazy. Huge. I think they said, you just don't see guys make that much of a jump in 1 year.
6
Yep.
of 11 for tonight. I mean, that's wild. That's like Curry's type numbers. Like that's like real shooter type stuff. 6 of 11. That's huge.
And he's averaging the most attempts in his career too. 5 attempts in his last. His last high was with the Knicks last year, 3.6. Before that was 2.7 attempts per 3-point attempts per game. So I mean, volume is up there. Percentages, like Coke said, crazy high. I think he's not even being a Knicks homer, he should be most improved player by far.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's definitely been the best person, or at least the person that's made the biggest leap into stardom out of anybody else in the NBA. And if that award is not for that, I don't know what it's for. Else is for.
Well, you also have to take into account that the people who vote for these awards seem to just not like the Knicks. Remember last year RJ being left off the All-Rookie team because he wasn't efficient. But this
Terrence
year,
Davis
Anthony
deserved
Edwards
it.
is the front runner for Rookie of the Year, and it doesn't matter that he's inefficient. Huh? That's a little weird to me, huh? Yeah. No, I think he should absolutely. If I'm just talking about, maybe I am a homer too, but I'm talking about like the level of skill from year to year. Julius is probably the most improved player from last year, in my opinion. But is that gonna? But is I don't think that's reflected enough in the stats that people that only casually watch the sport are gonna be like, I don't think he improved as much as say Gary Trent Jr. as another guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, guys that jump from like 13 points to 20 points or whatever. Yeah, I mean, you're probably right, but like also at the same time, it's like, you know what? This is where you're definitely right. Is that the fact that like a lot of people just watch on the spreadsheet because it's like impossible to watch every NBA game that's out there. You know what I mean? Like you don't if you don't watch us regularly, like you don't get like a real great idea about it. So it's like I can't imagine like Zach Lowell is going to give like the best analysis about the Knicks, because it's like he doesn't have time to watch everybody like that.
Oh, another guy, Michael Porter Jr. from 9 points to 18 points a game on better efficiency too. So that's the one thing people are going to see and be like, yeah, that's a bigger improvement going from a role player to a clear solid starter.
And he's also on ESPN a lot because Jokic is insane and the Nuggets are great. So
more exposure.
It helps.
I still think it's a strong statement to say Randle definitely won't win. I think the biggest difference when you talk about guys like, who have gotten snubbed in the past for being a Knick, we weren't winning. We're winning now. This is New York. It also works in our favor. The media's caught on. I was listening to the cast tonight, and they were giving the Knicks major props throughout the whole game, especially Richard Jefferson, and he's a known Knick hater.
Oh yeah.
Knick hater.
And they were giving it up. So I don't know, man. I think he has a shot.
So hang on, before we move on, I wanted to point out something I thought was absolutely hilarious when I was watching the game. I mentioned this in the pre-post game show to Slice and Jim, but when Frank checked in the fourth, the first thing he did was get a foul. Right, you could hear the play-by-play guy. I keep forgetting his name.
Mark Jones.
Mark Jones. You could hear him like he didn't know who that was, so he was like, "Oh, and then there was foul on the Knicks."
Number 11. Number 11.
I just thought that was funny personally. Yeah. So catching up on the chat here, Tony Crow says he just subbed. Thank you. Thanks for subbing. Hope you enjoy the content. He also says improvement plus impact equals MIP equals Randle. I definitely think he should be. Rob Collins with the bringing up people want to trade him for Batum stuff. Like, come on, man. Like, yeah. We were all there.
Is that Mello? Is that Mello's real name? Rob Collins. I've heard him post that. Read him post that a bunch.
Yeah. Now he says people wanted to cut him after this season and pay $4 million dead cap like 5 months ago. I'm sure there were a few. There
were quite a few.
Yeah.
Those comments make me hate the forum. Those comments make me hate the forum.
I was only on board with the trading for Batum because I thought it was gonna be like, oh yeah, give us a couple first, we'll trade him for you. I wouldn't have done it straight up.
Oh, there were folks willing to trade him straight up.
That was stupid.
Yeah,
wild.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Well, I have to say though, you could definitely tell last year there was a little bit of tension between RJ and Randle. I just felt like they didn't necessarily really get along because like Randle and Payton definitely played buddy ball together last year, and like you can see this year that like Randle passes to everyone. He just finds whoever's the most open person that's the best shooter on the outside.
He straight up ignores Payton sometimes now.
I know. That's again, it's like a total 180 from last year. It's like they would just like.
No, I was going to say that's why he's the most improved player, because mentally he's a lot improved as well. He realizes he doesn't need to give the ball to Elf. He wants to win, so he gives the ball to his teammates. He knows that can actually hit the shot. So that's just another argument right there for most improved player to me. Not just physically, not just on a box score, but mentally, he's a much stronger, smarter player this year.
Man, I do have to say though, the one thing that we actually did better last year than this year, and I think I forget who brought it up last time or 2 games ago, was that we really don't seem to use Randle as a pick and roll, like as a roll man anymore. We kind of like, if he does set a pick, he's always like popping back out and then trying to catch in on like the ISO or something. I think we should go back to, we should run a few more pick and rolls for Randle, but that also goes back to our guards just suck. We just don't have anybody who can run the pick and roll even remotely well. Rose and Quickly can score out of it decently enough, but they're not very good at passing out of it. Rob says RJ's improved shooting has also resulted in greater success for Randle. Yeah, I think that's true because like that's always better for a star player is when you have more space. Now that like RJ is consistently hitting those corner jumpers, if he's in the corner, then you really can't leave him. I mean, you can, but we're gonna make you pay for that.
That's bad. Yeah. As
opposed to really early in the season and last year, where you could leave him open and it was kind of like he might hit it, but you live with it. Now it's like, well, he's gonna shoot it.
I mean, it goes back to just basic basketball. Guys got to earn it. The way RJ was shooting the ball last year, I mean, if you were Randle, would you feel confident passing on the ball? I know. I mean, I wouldn't. He shot low 30s. So at the end of the day, guys got to put in the work. And when you start seeing your teammates knock down shots, it builds confidence, and you feel more at ease kicking them the ball when they're open. And I think that's just the testament to the work that all these guys put in. You got to give the fans an assist too, because we're a tough New York crowd. We got on Randle. I'm sure he heard the talk, and I'm sure that served his motivation, and that's what got him in the gym to go extra hard to want to prove us wrong. So in a way, you got to give an assist to the crowd and to the critics, because if we don't get on them, if we don't get on some cyberbullying movement, who's to say if he gets he gets this jump, because maybe he doesn't take it as as serious or take it to heart. So shout out to Randle for putting into work, and shout out to New York and all the fans for being the most rabid fan base in all of the NBA basketball.
Bullying gets results. Quote from Coke.
Right, here at NBNF, we do not condone bullying, folks. Please don't.
Only bully ball. Only bully ball.
Bully ball is fine. Yes, especially against Kristaps Porzingis.
I don't think there's anybody else out there who wants to see him fail more than I do, man. It's just nice. Like RJ had a couple of that nice putback on over him and stuff like that. I just love to see the guy fail. So it just makes me happy.
He was okay tonight. I didn't think he was that bad.
No, he wasn't. Look at the stat line, man. He was 2 for 8 from 3.
He was okay in the second half.
Give it away.
In the second half, he's okay.
That's my scrubber tonight. I'm coming with it because you try to talk him
23 and 12 scrubber tonight.
Yes, man, he's scrubber tonight. 2 for 8 from 3.
You just feel the bitterness. You just feel
still content to just sit back and hoist jumpers. Allergic to the paint. I'm sorry, he's scrubber tonight for me. Euro big who can't play, make, or pass. Like, where they do that at? Seriously.
He did post and toast RJ one time tonight, where he hit like a little hook shot or whatever.
He's got 8 inches on the guy. He better post and toast.
I know, but after seeing him fail so many times against Marcus Smart, then I was just like, look at that! He hit a little post. He had a little post hook shot. Wow.
I'll tell you what I did like though.
He kept trying to do those pull up mid ranges like he's Poku. He ain't Poku.
Yeah. He ain't Poku.
God.
I'll tell you what I did like though. I love that Noel block. That was crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He gets one of those blocks on like a dunker every game now. And
Just about won the game, basically.
Those are the real. That's like the real impressive blocks too. It's like easy to like block a float. I mean, I'm not gonna say easy because I'm short, but like I feel like blocking a dunk is definitely like way more serious than blocking like a floater or any sort of layup. And
it's the momentum shift.
Yeah,
you know, it's a huge momentum shift, which is big. But I want to pivot real quick and talk about Derrick Rose. We were kind of getting on him a few games ago, right? This 5 straight games over 10 points, 15 tonight. He's been that first quarter bench scorer that Julius Randle's needed. I think the last 4 or 5 games, if I remember right, he's had 7+, or at least 5+. You know what I mean? And we were all getting on him saying, Derrick Rose, is he too old? Is he washed? Did COVID get him? Now that he's got his wings back and his lungs back in him and he's able to run the floor again, like I said, 15 tonight, 11, 14, 11, 19 against Memphis going back the last 5 games. Averaging 12 in his last 9. Yeah, the percentages aren't there, but he's attacking the hole and kind of opening things up. So before, I do also want to make sure Derrick Rose gets a shout out, just being that extra bench score that the Knicks need because the rest of the bench was anemic tonight.
And that's what we need. That's what he's on the team for. That's why Tibbs brought him back. We need to be able to give some rest to RJ, some rest to Randle, and have confidence that there's a guy out there who could get in the paint, get you through a cold spell, take it to the rack, make the defense converge, kick out the shooters, etc. And, Rose is starting to be that again. So that's always good to hear. We got to get quickly back in sync with him. But what I did like tonight, especially with the rotations, was, Tibbs staggered. You know what I mean? He sat Randle and did not allow RJ to flourish. I know Jim's a happy man because he wants RJ to get the ball, get some chances to create, and he did that tonight. So
RJ number 1 fan.
Hang on, no Coke. Can you really call it staggering when RJ just played the whole game? Is that really staggering? Like that kind of implies that RJ went to the bench once or twice.
At least they didn't play the whole game together.
Yeah, okay,
that's what you're gonna get.
Give you that.
That's a good point.
That's the best you're gonna get.
Yeah. I just noticed that 46 minutes. Wow.
Yeah.
Tibbs went full Joe Pesci. He was just like, RJ, you a Ute. You a Ute. Go out there and play.
You got them young legs. You ain't got that torn ACL yet.
Oh God! Don't even put that.
Don't wish that evil. Oh,
don't even put that negativity out in the universe.
Hey man.
Yeah. I kind of wonder if Rose has got an inhaler like Tatum has, because he's definitely bounced back since he's been back from COVID protocol, and like I said, knock on wood too. Hopefully Burks is okay, because there's a decent amount of. I don't want to get too off topic, but there's a decent amount of people that get some serious long-term damage from COVID. So and I can't even imagine how detrimental that would be to a professional athlete. So knock on wood, I hope that Burks is okay, that he's not actually sick with COVID, because that's bad stuff for those type of people that are NBA players.
Think about RJ if that happens. He's going to be playing 44 minutes a night. Tibbs ain't going to go to his bench more. He's going to shorten the rotation.
Well, there was somebody published an article that the Knicks might be interested in Mike James.
Who?
You guys? Mike
Yeah.
James. He got.
I think he was.
He's
got the Raptors, I think.
Yeah.
Hold up.
All right. So now
this is the guard version of Norvell Powell.
Yeah, we're guaranteed he's going to be good now.
Yeah, I think he was actually doing really good. He was playing in China and got into some sort of altercation.
45-year-old Mike James, or is there another?
No, there's another one. There's two
Mike James. Yeah,
I can't even remember the other one.
Oh, Coke, that's another shot.
He's not on Basketball Reference at all. Oh no!
But yeah.
Ooh, Mike Jones.
Yo, in the chat, throw a question at us, man. It's a little dry out here, man. Come at us with a decent question. We'll see if we can get to it.
Oh man, my cell phone just died with the light.
This is definitely a different Mike James. Holy shit, I never even heard of this guy. I've seen him before.
I only know about him because of BAF, man. I had to dig deep one time and sign him.
Hey, he played 36 games in 2018. Hey,
yeah, that's when I got him.
Hey, he's still younger than Obi.
He's 30, but all right.
Hey,
Oh man.
I mean, in
Pelicans
my
and
heart,
Suns.
Yeah, in my heart, he's younger than Obi.
Yeah, hard.
I'm using the eye test here, not the advanced stats.
Oh
So you
man.
guys think something happened quickly tonight, that he only got 5 minutes and that Frank got minutes in the fourth quarter, or do you think it was just like
what
Tibbs
happened?
doing a substitution thing?
What happened is, quickly kind of played really bad defense for a few possessions there, and combined that with he was missing shots. I think I would have still gone back to him in the fourth just to be like, well, I mean, I know he just because like I like to play the young guys, and we know he can be a spark. But yeah, he definitely he got torched a couple. He got torched on defense. Yeah, Vivek, that's right. Especially on Tim Hardaway Jr. Like that was kind of rough. But
Well, speaking about MP just asked, now that we're on the topic of IQ, he goes, thoughts on IQ's role going forward the rest of the year with Tibbs. I think tonight is what you saw. Basically, he makes a couple of mistakes. He's not coming back in.
He's situational.
Yeah, he's definitely on a short leash.
He's
I
the
don't,
S
I don't
word
think
now.
I don't think it's going that far yet. Situation was like banishment, but
Yeah,
the leash
Situational is Frank.
yeah, situational Frank.
Yeah.
the leash has gotten shorter. I just think that at this point in the season, I don't think IQ's ever played this many games, especially not condensed. With the schedule in this COVID era. So he's hit a wall. It's no denying about it. But hopefully he'll catch the second win. At one point we saw Randle, he hit a wall, and he appears that he's hit his second win, and he's come back stronger than ever. So we can only hope that IQ at least shows up for the last stretch of the season and into the playoffs. But for right now, if he doesn't have it, I don't mind give him a quick pull and let some other guys get a chance. Hopefully this leads to an opportunity
Even
for
if that guy's Frank. Even if that's Frank.
Yeah, Frank. Yeah, hey man, Frank
absolutely.
can plug. He can plug. I just don't overhype him and think that he is anything that he's not. But I don't mind Frank getting minutes or Knox. Let's take a look at these guys if we can.
I mean, this is basically Frank's last best shot, and he did real well tonight, right? If he's going to be out for any length of time, and he has to be, I think there's a 9-game or 9-day wait and see. He's going to right. Frank's going to have to play.
No, he isn't. No, he isn't. This is Tibbs we're talking about here. We will run a 6-man rotation.
No, I think MP will get his wish, and Frank's going to start getting minutes. If he keeps playing like he did tonight, he's going to get to play. He was great. MP,
he'll
Frank
get minutes.
Great.
Good job for you for believing. Still,
Well, he'll get minutes, but I think the guy who'll benefit most from Burks being out is going to be RJ. He's going to get a chance to create now. He's going to basically finish every game, and he'll get an opportunity to be on the ball rather than on the wing or stuck in a corner. So he'll get some opportunities to really give Jim what he wanted, which is chances to create for himself and others.
So, Coke, I want to bring up your point about the condensed schedule, bro. I just took a look at our schedule going back. It's been a month since the Knicks had more than 2 days in between games. Just got to think about that, like how wild that's been, right? That the games are basically every other day the Knicks got a game. And you can tell it with how long we've been on the podcast since we started doing this. We've gotten 1 or 2 days off, in between talking to each other. So right now, we're playing again on Sunday. Then the Knicks finally get, then Tuesday, then Wednesday, then finally they get a couple of days off on Saturday. So again, the schedule is OD condensed where, to your point about IQ, hitting a rookie wall at this point in the season with the amount of, games that he's played this year is not that unheard of and not something that should be seen as a huge negative. It should be something that's expected by now.
I'm hitting the rookie wall, man. This is my first time podcast. This is relentless. Yo,
yeah.
I mean, look at the
I was like, damn,
right
we got another podcast tonight. Damn.
Yeah, pretty much, man. But yeah, let's look for the next game. Coke, you're actually going to see your boy Lonzo. I think he's actually back healthy. The rematch against the Pelicans. So, Coke, kick us off with your prediction for that game.
Lonzo's coming back. I think it's gonna make a difference. They'll have some more playmaking. Last game, I was getting on Bledsoe. I was getting on Kyra Lewis because they had 2 assists between the both of them. So, if Lonzo plays, allows them to get some more playmaking. Yeah, he doesn't drive in the paint. We know. But he's just a ball mover, and he takes some pressure off of Zion, some pressure off of Ingram, allows them to do what they do best, and that's score the ball. But with that said, hey, man, I'm not betting against the Knicks anymore. They're going to win that game. We're going to go 6 in a row. So that's my prediction. Knicks get another one.
So I think MP had a quick note for you here. 0 for 7 from 3. 0 for 7 from 3 tonight. Team worst -17 for Lonzo.
He's
Just had to throw that jab at you.
He's rusty. But the law of averages means that's bad news for us, baby.
Yeah,
He's
That's
going
not
to
how
get
that
high
works.
on us.
That's not how that works.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a real question of whether we can build the Zion wall now, because having Lonzo out there at like almost 40% 3-point shooter is going to make life a lot easier for him. So hopefully he's still going to come back cold like he did tonight, and this way we can build the wall towards Zion and make sure that he's not able to dominate and take over the paint. You know, if it works on Giannis, why wouldn't it work on Zion? So yeah, I'm gonna follow up Coke because I feel really bad about saying that we were gonna lose tonight, and it like makes me feel like a bad fan. So I'm gonna say
All
we're
you
gonna
guys
win.
last game.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like our negativity boosted the positivity of this victory a little bit. So I'm gonna predict a victory as well. I don't think they're that good of a team. I think you slow down Zion enough that Ingram and Ball aren't gonna beat us.
You know, MP made a joke saying Alfred's gonna cook him. I don't think Alfred has ever cooked anything or anyone. I'm pretty sure he just buys the frozen meals and eats them right out the freezer.
Alva's so bad that he's still a hunter gatherer. Not my best joke. I have had better.
You see,
that's all right.
Yeah. Seems more like a gatherer than a hunter. But anyways, moving on to the Pelicans. You know, I mean, if we play like we did tonight, you know, we're gonna win. If Randall goes off, like he did, it's hard to hold it down. Yeah, I mean, if Burks comes back and he's not anything serious, it's like I don't know. Have we been given an official like timetable on him, or has it just been like he's just out? We don't know. So without Burks, we're gonna need RJ to step up. Hopefully, Derrick Rose keeps playing this. Like I said, if we play like we did tonight, we win. We beat him last time. I don't think Lonzo is that much of a game changer for them. No offense, Coke. But if I think it's the same thing as tonight. The same thing as last time. You know, just go out there. We definitely have a pretty good chance.
I mean, there's a reason why the Pelicans are kind of leaning towards not bringing Lonzo back, right? They want to go with Zion as a point forward and run the offense through him. So yeah, I agree. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. And Randall's on such a groove right now. I'm going to go with another 40. He's going to go, you know, at 35 plus and another win.
That was bold.
35 plus.
Yeah,
that was bold.
Oh, so I have something nice to say, or something that I saw online. Kendrick Perkins supports us that Randall should be most improved player.
Perkins has always been a big Knicks fan. For a former Celtic, it's amazing. Yeah, so
well, he was more of a journeyman in his career, so at that point he has no allegiance to any team. But you know, I was the only one who predicted a win last game. Now all you guys are jumping on the bandwagon, but you know, the positive momentum is there, so it's really hard to bet against this Knicks team, right? You know, Julius Randle's he's actually the fifth. I think this was his fifth or sixth 30-plus point game, which is the most in Stephon Marbury, which is wild. I'm hoping he keeps that going and just, you know, keeps that going. And I agree with Moo. I don't know about 35-plus. I think he'll hit that 30 mark. You know, I think the Pelicans just seeing him 2 days ago and haven't gotten cooked by him might try to game plan a little bit better, might take it a little bit more personal. But, you know, 6 straight wins, I'm calling it. I'm going for it. The positive momentum is there. And until the Knicks lose, I'm not going to predict the Knicks loss. You know, and like Coke said before, and like we've all said, this is a tough stretch. This is that down the stretch part. You know, I think nobody wants to tank anymore. If you do, get the hell out of here. The Knicks are a playoff team this year, and we're predicting to win. But Coke, let's start wrapping it up, man. Give us your final thoughts.
Wow, I mean, I'm still impressed. Unanimous prediction. That's the first time this happened since we all came together. But, you know, final thoughts, man. The Randle tour continues. You know, he's going back. Oh, no, actually it's out. home, but he's still facing another team that he played for. And, he's been looking like he's had a chip on his shoulder. And like you said, I think he's going to take it out on Nola again. And talking about revenge, RJ, he only played he played limited minutes, only had 6 points last game. So I expect a bounce back game from him. We've seen that, RJ's very tough minded. He has a chip on his shoulder. He has that bounce back in his system. So I think, he's going to come out looking to, show the coach that he can be trusted going against Nola. And I'm sure he wants to compete against his ex-college teammate Zion. So I look for a big game from RJ. And like I said, we're going to keep rolling. And let's see how long we can keep this winning streak going.
I guess my final thoughts are I'm glad that Rose and RJ showed up enough to support Randle, because again, what Randle is doing, he just like lifts the whole team on his back and does what needs to be done. He's like an ISO scorer when there needs to be an ISO scorer. He's a catch and shoot guy when we need a catch and shoot guy. He's a playmaker when we need a playmaker. He's just brought it pretty much every single night. I'm like a little upset with myself that I actually doubted him and thought that he was reverting back to old Randle, because he seems like he's new and improved. And as long as he keeps doing what he's been doing, we're going to win games. And you know what? We might steal some games in the playoffs because of how good he is.
And he did it in front of his hometown too. That was.
And he did it at home. Yeah.
So
did it in front of his mom and his cousins and all the friends from high school. Crushed it. Love it.
So Rob at the chat brings up a point. He says it seems like RJ hasn't played well against Zion. So I looked it up, and he's only played 2 games against New Orleans, but he's been pretty terrible. Averaging 11, 7, and 2 on 28% from the field, 29% from 3, 38% true shooting. Like, that's just terrible. But so hopefully he can bounce back he can start playing well against them. My only other thing is, because I know that we're in uncharted territory right now. We haven't won this many games in a row in so long, especially not this year. So what we just have to do is we can't think of this as going for our 6th win in a row. We should be looking at this as our 2nd consecutive 3-game win streak. I think we go in with that mindset, we can do it.
Battered Knicks fan, man.
I'm talking about the team mentality, because something was up with them until a few days ago where they just couldn't get to 4 wins in a row. So if they just pretend that we're not going for 6 wins, we're going for a 2nd, 3rd win, it works.
I mean, they're grinding, right? They're grinding like we haven't seen in since the 90s, because even the 2012-13 team, they didn't really grind as much, right? They had talent, they had veterans, guys that already knew how to win. This is kind of going all the way back, right before Kyle was born. As far as that's everybody's wondering how young Kyle is. That's how they're doing, and that's great to see for us older guys that have lived through that. It's great to see, right? So as far as RJ and Zion, was that other game? Did Zion play in the other game, Kyle?
The other game against RJ, I don't know. Give me a few seconds, I can look it up.
Because it was kind of reason I'm asking, because it goes into what I said. I think a couple against the Pelicans, before the Pelicans. If RJ tries to make it an RJ versus Zion thing, if that's what he's thinking, because he needs to show that he's on par or close, that's going to be a problem, because he's not Zion. So he needs to do what he does, what he's always been doing, and if he focuses on that, they're fine. Let Randle be the number 1 guy. Pass the ball, give it to him, pass it to your teammates. Don't drive when Steven Adams is standing in the paint, because that's just going to more blocks. He needs to pick and choose when he drives, right? He did great tonight. When Porzingis was out and he drove. When Porzingis was in, he didn't. He didn't really. I think he forced it once, right? But as long as he's smart about what he's doing, he used his passing ability. Like I said, he's an excellent passer. He just needs to do it more. But yeah, otherwise, I think. Did you find out, Kyle?
Yeah, no, Zion did not play in that one.
Okay. But I think that's the key, is he needs to play his game. He can't be worried about, going one-on-one against Zion or trying to put up stats because, people are going to want to compare the two of them. If he does that and plays his game, I think the Knicks will win. Right? Let Julius do his thing.
Yeah, no, the Knicks just need to, I got to echo basically what everybody said. The Knicks just need to follow Julius Randle's lead. He decided 2 straight 30-point games. Was it enough? Hit over 40 for the second time this season. Then the Knicks finally won 5 games in a row. I got to disagree with Kyle. I think, having that in your mindset, we just won 5 straight, get that 6th is a little bit better than, hey, let's win 2-3 games in a row. But, whatever the Knicks need to keep them positive, let's keep that going. But a nice 5th win in a row over Luka. That tall guy that MP said, don't even say his name. That tall guy out in Dallas.
That was Vivek that said that.
Oh, it was Vivek. My bad. But yeah, it was Vivek who said that. So over Luka, the other tall guy out in Dallas, the Knicks get their 5th win in a row. RJ was that big 4th quarter, to step up with Alec Burks potentially being out for 10 days due to the health and safety protocol. The Knicks get the matinee matchup versus the Pelicans on Sunday to go for the 6th in a row as they start their first of 6 straight games out in MSG. We thank everybody for tuning into this edition of the No Blood, No Foul podcast presented by Real GM. We appreciate everybody that was in the chat. Make sure you like this video, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, as well as subscribing. So make sure you check out our future videos. We'll catch you guys Sunday afternoon, and we out.
It's no blood, no foul. Crying for calls, we took your morale. Congratulations till we run that clock out. MSG the Mecca, this is our house. NYC forever when we mob out. See that kid drip, got that clock